Hello and welcome back to Game Vitamins. My name is Nick, and in today's video, we are talking about card sorters. Yes, card sorters, a lot of mixed feelings on them, although in general, most people believe it is a net positive in terms of upping their TCG business. But today's video is going to mainly dive into why I got one myself, whether it makes sense for you, and the different card sorters that are available on the market, comparing and contrasting them, just to get an idea of what's out there, and again, whether or not it makes sense. Also, to explain in depth as to why I went ahead and got one way ahead of when most people feel the need to. So without further ado, let's dive right into it. I want to start by discussing the ones that are available on the marketplace, do a really quick overview and give you my professional opinion that is incredibly uninformed on most of these, other than on the Phyzbatch-9000, which is what I ended up getting. It's arriving this week, so I figured it is probably the right time to explain why I got it before I start uploading a ton of videos about figuring out how to use it and putting it to work. So let's dive into the different ones that are available. There are four main sorters that you hear people talk about. There's the Roca, the famous Roca from TCG Player. There's the Magic Bot. Nope, I literally just combined two of them. There's the Magic Sorter, the CardBot, and the Phyzbatch-9000. So I'm not going to try to talk like I know how all of these sorters work, but I want to explain mainly why I got the Phyzbatch, and realistically I'll just be sort of comparing them all, and it will hopefully explain a little bit more about each. So the Roca is by far the most famous. It's very expensive, it's very specific, and is able to sort things however the heck you want it to. Now, it has 32 bins, I believe that is correct, because there are some like overflow bins and ones for rejected sorts. And it goes at about 500 cards per hour. You're able to do very specific alphabetical sorts and set sorts and get things exactly how you would want them before you integrate it into your inventory. Now, that is incredibly helpful, but I will explain a few ways that you can still do that with the Phyzbatch and do it a lot faster, at least from what I understand. Again, why I ended up going with it. But the I keep mixing CardBot and Magic Sorter together. I don't know why. I think it's just because I spent the least time analyzing those two. But the Magic Sorter is essentially the budget-friendly little brother to the Roca. It's a couple $1,000s, you pay a monthly fee, and it does the same thing. But I've heard the reliability is incredibly iffy, customer service is not that great, and in general, it'll do what you want it to do as long as it'll last, and you really need to know how to work on it to make sure that when it goes down, you can fix it. So Roca and Magic Sorter, kind of in the same boat. Very specific in the way that they sort. It's almost like too specific. And let me get into that a little bit deeper. First, let me just throw CardBot in there. This one, I don't understand at all, to be totally honest. It has two different columns that cards can be sorted into. Yes, you know where cards lie, but I don't see any way that it really helps you for $8,000 when you could just... I'm just trying to even fathom why you would really get a CardBot. I mean, no offense to the people who made it or whoever out there might have one, but if you have experience with it, please, I would love to hear your feedback down below, because I just didn't make any sense to me. I mean, you just put one on one side, one on the other. I mean, if you're doing alphabetical, it can't move, a card below the other, so you're just going to have like A through M in one and N through Z in the other, and then you'd have to just keep running it through to slowly sift through letters, and If you're doing color sorts, that doesn't really make sense because if you're going to be selling things on TCG Player like most people, you need to sort by set and alphabetical, and it just didn't make any sense. So we have the groundwork here. Again, this was an incredibly uninformed opinion on those. I still think the Roca definitely has its place, and I think there's a reason why a lot of big card shops have one. But I want to dive deeper into why card sorters can make sense for some people, whether or not it does in the moment financially, and why the Phyzbatch seems to be the golden choice here. So let me talk a little bit about business. And this is more so as to why a card sorter would be something you'd look at in the first place. Now, this is clearly not something for everyone. Not everyone needs a card sorter. It depends what scale you're looking to do this at. But in my main business, the thing I do day to day, it is very equipment heavy. I just got $300,000 worth of equipment this week to be able to run that. And no, I didn't pay that out of pocket. Yes, I work with banks, but the thing that people don't seem to understand when getting into business nowadays is that in order to really scale a business or really service customers in certain types of businesses, you need equipment. So let's say I was moving gravel for a landscaping job, right? So this isn't, I don't deal with landscaping, but just as an example, you can fill up the back of your truck, which also costs you money, and do one small load at a time, run back and forth. Or you have more potential clients, you have larger scale operations, things that you can break into by having a piece of equipment that makes it easier and cheaper and faster to do more. So you go out and you buy a dump truck. Before, maybe you were using a little rake and raking out all of this gravel to level out someone's driveway. But to get a job done in a day, you now have the dump truck and a skid steer. Now, this might not resonate with everyone, but this is how people who want to scale and grow businesses in certain industries need to look at the operations of a business. Even if you're mowing lawns, maybe you started with a push mower, but now you want to do more lawns per day. So you buy a zero turn for several $1,000s. I'm going off on a tangent here, but hopefully this sort of paints the picture as to why a card sorter can be so important for certain people who want to scale their business. Now, the most recent time I mentioned it, a lot of people agreed with me, which was awesome. So thank you. But I believe a card sorter made sense for me because from the very beginning, I had a plan to scale fast if I enjoyed running this type of business. And in my day-to-day, again, I run a lot of equipment. I understand the value of having higher-end, newer equipment that doesn't break down, that allows you to get jobs done at faster rates and, in general, be able to execute at a much larger scale than you would otherwise. I want to talk about the Phyzbatch more. You understand why I bought it. I want to scale. I knew I did early on. That's why I got my name on the list. That's why I've been waiting several months for it. Yes, I've been waiting several months ever since I still had barely even broken into the business. But with enough planning and foresight, you can make things work. So anyway, I want to pull up info on the Phyzbatch. I want to break down the numbers. I mean, if you reached out to TCG machines, they would email this back to you because that's what they did for me. So I can't imagine I'm breaking any rules here by relaying the different prices and price breakdowns, pricing models that they have. There are three main options. And also, check the date on when I'm recording this. Everything's always subject to change. You know how it goes. So when people look at pieces of equipment like this, they always look at the sticker price, right? It's $29,500. People will immediately start asking, well, how did you go out and get a $30,000 card sorting machine? How did you go out and buy a $150,000 piece of equipment? How did you go out and buy an investment property for $1 million? Well, it's because they're banks, and it's because they're lease to own, and there's rental options, well, lease to own and rental options in regard to the sorting machines, mortgages and auto loans and equipment loans in regard to other types of businesses. So no, people usually are not going out and just spending all of this money up front. They need to know that it's going to work for their business, that they are amortizing the useful life of that equipment over its useful life typically. So you're maximizing the return on dollars laid out. So in regard to the Phyzbatch, yes, you could go out and buy it for $29,500. I'm looking down at my laptop. I have all the numbers right here. I'll even throw up little screenshots, I guess. Gives you 1 year of support and licensing included, 1 year hardware warranty included, and shipping and handling included. Now, one other quick thing, I have no affiliation with TCG machines. I just enjoyed talking with them, and I'm super excited about getting mine. So you could go out and purchase it. Or you could do a lease to own option. You put a certain amount down, that is $5,000 right now. Based off of that amount, you could do it over 2, 3, 4, or 5 years, which changes the monthly payment anywhere from around $520 a month at the lowest over 5 years to $1,100 a month over 2 years. So again, you can already see where this gets a little bit more approachable. Yes, you need capital to outlay up front, but if you're not going to be operating at a scale that can justify a $500 a month payment, then it's definitely not for you. So with that being said, the last option and what I went for to start is a rental option. Now, I would usually not do this, but I really like the way that they structure it. It's $1,350 a month. It includes the warranty and software support, and it gives you a 3-month equity transfer. So if it's not for you, after those 3 months, you can send it back, forget about it, wipe your hands clean. You don't owe them any money for 5 more years. But if in those 3 months you realize this is a phenomenal machine, it works great for what I'm doing, you can apply that to the equity balance of the machine and then roll it into a lease to own or buy it outright if you want to. Or you could just keep renting it and do that for 6 months, apply the first 3 to the equity balance, and again, it's at that point, it's insurance for you to know whether or not it makes sense in your operations. So you can see why I looked at it thinking, well, I know that I want to scale. People will call me crazy for it, but I have. I've done several hundred sales per day, and that can only go up with the help of a machine because doing it by hand, you do hit a certain threshold. I want to have this go much, much larger, and I have a lot other crazier plans in the near future. So bear with me, I'm a little nuts. But now let's talk a little bit about why the Phyzbatch, the functionality, why I thought it was the best choice for the money. You have the Roca, that's $20-something thousand. The Magic Sorter I could have gotten into for $3. And again, CardBot, whatever, I'm going to ignore that one. Roca, at the end of the day, the Phyzbatch seems like it has the best functionality for my scale of operations. And that is because currently my focus has been singles. I've been breaking down a lot of product, listing a lot on TCG Player, accumulating a lot of bulk. If you've been watching my channel, you know this already. If you haven't, go back to some of my first videos and watch all the way through and you'll understand where I'm at right now. But with all of that being said, I needed something that was going to be able to sift through cards at a fast speed, pull out anything of higher value with accurate scans, and be able to export that, upload it, and then sort it from there. Now, the Phyzbatch has 13 bins, and you can customize each bin for a specific sort, whether that be over a certain dollar value, whether it be over a certain dollar value and a certain color, or set sorts in each bin, or I don't even really need to keep coming up with what's the word? Examples. Oh, goodness. I don't really need to keep explaining it because anything that a card can be sorted by, you can do it with the Phyzbatch. So in my mind, I thought, okay, we're going to have a lot of bulk. We're going to have a lot to sift through. We want to find value. So with the Phyzbatch and its ability, even though it's limited by its 13 bins, that doesn't mean you can't just run stuff through again and again. I'm working with some of the most recent sets. So a lot of my scans and a lot of what I would be sorting will be of specific sets. And the reason that's so helpful in my personal situation is I could run it through and take out all the value to start, for example. Then I could run that through again and sort alphabetically. Okay, well, you only have 13. You double that and you have the full alphabet. Great. So 2 letters will wind up in each bin. Then you could pull out each and run through A just again and sort alphabetically a little bit deeper. And then you could run B, and then you could run C. And yes, this does require a little bit more hands-on operations, but I think the thing with the Phyzbatch that's nice, in my opinion, is since it sifts and sorts relatively quickly, you can continue to run cards through and narrow it down more and more. Again, to whatever level makes sense for you. So let's say I'm only operating to start with mythics, and it's all within foundations. Then I can organize it by A through Z. And since mythics will probably make up the smallest amount of my total cards, I could then pull them out and quickly hand sort by card and then throw them into the inventory. That, to me, seems like the best balance of machine speed to human interaction. Because with the Roca, yes, you can get it incredibly specific. And again, same with the Magic Sorter, as long as it doesn't break. But can you do it at a speed that would work for sifting through the quantities that I have over here and in the pipeline? Probably not. If I had both, that would probably be the best situation. Again, that's probably why most stores run both. But the second caveat as to why I went with the Phyzbatch is really because of its ability to create lots. And I've talked about it a lot in my videos, so maybe you've heard this, maybe you haven't. But one of the things that I really want to do moving forward is create custom lots of products. Okay, sorry, I wanted to look over because my screen went dark, and one time that cut off all my audio. So anyway, I want to be able to create custom product lots, whether that be a full set run of cards from a specific set, whether it be 100 common greens, 100 uncommon reds, token lots, land lots. I've talked about this, but I want to get into custom products that can be sold with the leftover cards that don't sell through at as good of a rate as, the rest of them that I will parse out as singles. So this is huge for me. I think this was the biggest factor because being able to deal with bulk is always, it seems like that's everyone's problem, right? So if you can create custom products that will allow you to deal with that bulk, then that's even better, especially at a quick speed. If you want to do land lots and have 500 cards, 100 of each land, then you can do that very quickly by just filling up the hopper with lands, and it'll set it all out and sort it all out, and then all you gotta do is pull it out, pack it, send it out the door. So that is one aspect that I thought was great. And the fact that you can narrow down the sorts within each bin makes it even more attractive because, again, you can run cards through multiple times. It's not like it needs to be one and done. So that is my main logic as to why I went with the Phyzbatch. Whether it's going to operate the way that I'm intending it to, the way that I want it to, that is something we will all find out together once it comes in and I get it set up and I tinker around with it a little bit, make sure everything works and put it into action. So I hope that in general, this video sheds some light on the different sorters out there. Honestly, this was mostly focused on the Phyzbatch, but I hope it shed a little bit of light as to why I chose it, as well as why I went for it on, financially, why I think it makes sense for me, because I know where I want to get to, and I know that I can't really get there without the help of a card sorter. So with all that being said, that's all for now. We have a lot coming up with that showing up here soon. I have a lot of boxes piled up over there. Lots to sort through. So again, I've kind of got a big backlog right now because knowing that it's going to be arriving soon has not motivated me to really power through piles and piles of cards. But regardless, we're still pushing higher numbers worth of sales every day, which is awesome. We're maintaining inventory, which is great. You need to be doing that. And we're building. We are building things up. It's been really exciting. It's been a lot of fun. And I'm super pumped to see where it all goes. Now, what other notes? I always like adding a little other bundles of random info at the end. This is new. I pointed it out in one of my last videos where this is all Karlov Manor, what we started with. All the art cards. I made that myself. Kind of cool. I'm actually going to, I just propped it up there because I didn't want to hang it up quite yet because I'm going to make other ones from a lot of different sets. Some of my patrons have actually been giving me art cards, which is really cool. Thank you guys very much for sending those to me. We're going to try to fill the wall with all the recent sets of art cards. I think that would look nice and spice up the room, considering it is still incredibly bland, and I'm just have not pushed forward on that at all. Otherwise, I don't know. That was very random. I really don't have too much more to share right now. Once the card sorter comes in, we'll do a lot of deep dives. I'll show you exactly how it works. I got a camera that I could set up so I could do the stream of opening a lot of boxes to then process them and kind of show you my operations behind the scenes. So I'll be setting that up. I'll probably make one more video before I do that just so I can mention an actual day and time when it's going to be happening. Again, a lot of people wanted to see that, so I think it'll be cool. It should be fun, have a live chat going and everything. And again, if you want to join a really cool reselling community, feel free to check out my Patreon, which gives you access to the Discord, which has a lot of super active members where we all chit-chat about magic and selling cards and the market and investments and whatever it might be. So that's all for now. Thank you all so much for watching and have a great day. We will catch you all in the next one.